Hey everybody, this is Logan Grant and this is Grant Me Topics. Today I've got a very special video that I've wanted to make for a long time, but it's so important that it's been difficult to really form my thoughts and take the time to do it. I've actually shot the video several times, but just wanted it to be right. And I don't even know if this one's going to be exactly how I want it, but I know I need to get this story out there. So I'm just going ahead and doing it. But this video is about how I was healed of my inguinal hernia. So the story starts in Michigan, where I moved to Howard City, Michigan in December of last year to play in a band and also work at a natural healing clinic or a natural health clinic, whatever you want to call it. They specialized in massage and colon hydrotherapy. So while I was there, I was able to learn some of those things, and also they were very big on gut health. And so I was able to learn a lot about gut health and how that was impacting the hernia. So while I was there, I went through several different treatments, such as light treatment, a colonic. I was doing cleanses, and also was really focusing on my diet. It was probably better than it had ever been. I was doing the hernia exercises, but the crazy thing is the hernia continued to get worse, and I could not understand it because in the past I've had excellent results from doing the right things. But anyway, I moved back home to Virginia, and it still continued to get worse to the point that it was the size of a walnut in my scrotum. And I could not find any way to keep it in. Hernia belts didn't work, KT tape didn't work anymore. And I think a lot of that was due to it being an indirect inguinal hernia. So where the direct ones tend to like poke straighter out, from what I've been told by some friends that have had the direct one, the indirect kind of slides straight down into the scrotum, where a hernia belt is not going to keep that in. It's just going to slide right past it. And I even noticed that it just seemed like wearing hernia belts or something, some kind of support, and then the hernia would slide past it, it would almost like irritate it more and make it worse. So I got to a point just to where I stopped wearing anything, and was trying as much as I could to do exercises that would strengthen the area. I was doing an inversion table quite often throughout the day to put the hernia back in without me actually having to use my hand. I was also using a wobble board while I was working at my standing desk, and that seemed to help a little bit too, because I found that when my hip flexors were being engaged, it would kind of keep the hernia in a little bit better. But that was difficult to do all day long because the muscles would get pretty tired. So anyway, I was just at a point to where I didn't know what to do anymore, and I had kind of lost hope that mine would heal. I mean, I was trying as hard as I could to continue hoping, but it was very difficult, especially when some days I would wear 2 hernia belts, and even that wouldn't keep it in. And so I was just dealing with a lot of discouragement and depression and anger and just confusion about the whole thing, because I was like, I'm doing everything right, and I know I've had good results in the past before from doing even less than what I'm doing now, but it still didn't seem to help. And I felt like I was nearly at my breaking point, because I was just like, I kind of already explained, but anyway, so I started looking into surgery again, because I was like, the kind of the number one thing for healing it is keeping it in, and there's no way I can keep it in. So I just had to kind of swallow my pride and start looking into surgery again. But I didn't want to get just your standard mesh surgery. I had done enough research to know that that is not the best option. But so I started looking in the US for a doctor or a surgeon who would who knew how to do the Schaldeiss procedure. But my first option or whatever that I wanted was to go to the Schaldeiss clinic in Toronto, Canada. But because of COVID, the borders were locked down. So that was not an option. There was one man I found, I think in Florida, who had never trained at the Schaldeiss clinic, but claimed to know how to do the Schaldeiss procedure. But I didn't feel comfortable with that, because I wanted somebody who had actually trained at the Schaldeiss clinic. And then I found Dr. Samer Sabai at the Stony Point Medical in New York. Stony Brook. Yeah, Stony Brook Medical in Stony Brook, New York. And I had a video call with him and asked him some questions. And he told me that he had he had trained, I think, the 3 or 4 months at the clinic in Toronto, Canada, and then worked there at least 2 years, doing multiple procedures. I think he did like 400 while he was there. And then he went, I don't know the whole process of how he ended up in New York, but anyway, in New York, he's done over 1,000 of the Schaldeiss procedure, and with no known reoccurrences. And he was very good at answering my questions and helping me understand what the procedure is like, the materials that they use. Anyway, the service was very good. So I felt comfortable with proceeding and trying to get the surgery by him. So I had scheduled for, I think it was early April, and, I ended up having to reschedule 3 times. The first time I had scheduled it shortly after, about a week after my grandmother's health started to decline, and I needed to go visit her. But I was going to have to be tested for COVID, I think 3 days prior to flying out. But with visiting and traveling and all of that, it was just going to be too much for me to schedule all of that and be tested and still have enough time to fly out. But so I rescheduled to, I think, the following week. I think it was April 8th, maybe, the 9th that I had rescheduled to. I think it was originally the 4th. So then, um, then I was just busy with trying to schedule getting tested, booking hotels, traveling, figuring out how I wanted to travel, because I had to consider getting back and being sore from the procedure. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to do car or plane or train. And depending on which means of travel I took would depend on when I could leave or not after the surgery. So anyway, there was just a lot of dynamics, and I was getting really stressed out because I didn't have much time, and I was trying to figure out the best way to do it. So and then I also had a trip to Texas that was coming up, and if I had the procedure, then I would be in Texas camping about a week after the procedure. So it was just all these different things. And so anyway, I rescheduled again till after I would actually, no, I think I rescheduled again, and I was still going to get it done right before going to Texas. So anyway, with it being out of state, my insurance was not sure if they would cover it or not. But I still wanted to proceed with planning until I heard back from them. And they told me that there was a chance that I would be able to still be covered by them. So anyway, a week before surgery, I heard back from the secretary of the surgeon's office, and my insurance had contacted her saying that they would not cover the procedure, and it would be about $13,000 for me to get the procedure. So I did not have the cash to have that done, and didn't know how I would get it done. So I canceled the surgery and told them that, or agreed that they would call me back the following month or two and try to plan another date, because they would only schedule their surgery dates 1 day out, 1 month out, sorry. But something interesting about all of this was that I had peace that if surgery was the means that God wanted to heal me, then he would let it go through, and that everything would go smoothly. And it seemed like it was, but besides the fact that I continued having to reschedule. And the last time I had to reschedule, I actually had a tremendous amount of peace about it, because I was getting anxious that I had not done all that I could have done. And since I had been battling this hernia for about 4 years up till that point, I did not want to run into getting surgery. I wanted to know that I had tried everything I could prior to getting surgery, and I had not been doing as well on my diet these couple weeks leading up to the surgery. I had not been exercising as much. I had kind of given up in a way, and was like, well, if I'm gonna have to get surgery anyway, then there's not really any point in me continuing with being so strict on my diet and doing all these exercises that I don't like doing. But that was not the right mindset, and I started feeling like I just should have been doing more. And so I was grateful for the chance to continue trying. And I did consult the surgeon prior, and asked him if I was to reschedule for another month out, um, would that put me in any dangerous position with the hernia? And he said no. He said that I was not in any risk of strangulation or anything like that. So that was comforting. And so my last surgery date, I believe, was scheduled for April 16th. And this is the date that I had to cancel because of my insurance. So I believe it was the 15th. I was messaging with a subscriber, and this subscriber, this subscriber was encouraging me to have faith and believe that my hernia would heal, because his was worse than mine, and he watched my videos and George's videos and really believed that his would heal, and it did. And him and I have stayed in contact since then, and his is still healed. And anyway, so I realized that one of the key things that was different then from early on was I had just kind of lost hope that mine would heal. I still believed very much that hernias could heal naturally, but I stopped believing that mine would heal. And so I started praying and asking God to help me believe again that he would heal me if he wanted to, and just to have faith that he would. And I'm telling you, for months, this hernia continued to get worse and worse, and there was nothing I could do to hold it in. And the very next day, it was a little bit better. And then the day after that, a little bit better. And then by the third day, it was completely gone. And there is really nothing, like, I can't take credit for that at all, because I was so at a loss of what to do that I was trying to get surgery. And I just know that it was God. It was not anything that I did. And so really that's the story. And now today is December 20th, and the hernia has not come back since April 17th, I guess is the day that it went away, or 18th, sometime around then. And I just recently moved to Tennessee, and when in the process of me moving, I was so stressed and so exhausted. I was getting very little sleep. I was eating terribly. I was eating out almost every day, if not more, eating a lot of junk, just because I was working so much that my only thought was just to keep going, and whatever I needed to eat or drink, just to keep going, I was doing it. And not only that, I was lifting a lot of heavy weight, moving items for my parents who were also moving, because I was cleaning out a warehouse and all kinds of stuff. And so I was physically strained, mentally, emotionally drained. I was not sleeping well, if I didn't mention that already. I wasn't hardly doing the hernia exercises. And this went on for probably 2 months straight. And anyway, I say all that to make the point that I was setting myself up for a reoccurrence, and it didn't happen. And so that just confirms to me more and more that it was God who healed me, because if it was not, 100% the hernia would have came back. Like in the past, my experiences, if I was doing good and then I did something like what I did those 2 months, the hernia would have came back, and it didn't. So yeah, it was totally God. I can't take any credit for that. But anyway, hope you guys are encouraged by this. I hope you know that, like, God created our bodies to heal naturally when we give them what they need. But even if our bodies heal due to us eating right or exercising, He's the ultimate healer, because He's the one that created our bodies to respond in that way. And in my case, I think He allowed the hernia to get as bad as it did so that I would know without a doubt that it was Him that healed me and not me, which was a complete answer to prayer, because I remember praying that if God wanted to heal me in a miraculous way, that He would make it 100% clear, that there would be no doubt in my mind whether it was Him or me through like natural means. And that's exactly what He did. So anyway, I hope this encourages you guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I will probably put up some more videos later on talking about the process of me trying to get surgery. Excuse me. And just who I was contacting, things like that. Because I know some of you are probably wondering about that, since I've talked about the Schaldeiss method before, and I know a lot of you know about that or have heard something about it. So anyway, yeah, God bless you guys. Shalom.